An absolutely stunning performance from Alexandra Eala. It was almost as if she couldn't believe it as she celebrated that and takes out the world number 2. Second time in her career she's beaten a player.
In that stadium, nobody believed what they were witnessing. Not initially, because the scoreboard continued to display incomprehensible information. Something that shouldn't have been there, no matter how many times you blinked at it, it refused to write itself. And the quiet grew louder the longer it remained there, unaltered and indisputable. Oh, you recognize that particular type of quiet. The kind that takes over a space when expectations aren't met by reality. That's precisely what happened on a Thursday afternoon in June 2026 at the Steffi Graf Stadion in Berlin, when a 21-year-old Filipino girl stepped out onto the grass, looked straight at one of the world's most feared players, and quietly decided she wasn't terrified of her. However, this is what no one is discussing. This is the portion of the tale that was entirely overlooked by the headlines. It wasn't during the game that the true miracle occurred. Long before she ever set foot on that court, it took place. Furthermore, you need to go much beyond the initial serve in order to comprehend what Alex Eala truly accomplished in Berlin. You must return to the losses. You must return to the times when no one was watching at all. Since context is crucial in this situation, let's start with what the world already knew. Elena Rybakina is more than just talented. She is the type of athlete who intimidates other top athletes, and 2022. She won Wimbledon with a serve so lethal that seasoned pros said it was the closest thing to an unstoppable weapon in women's tennis history. After that, she won the Australian Open. Upsets against her no longer felt like upsets but rather like impossibilities because she has defeated players who were supposed to defeat her so frequently. Rybakina is particularly dangerous on grass, which is the surface on which this match was contested. Most players just can't match the speed she produces from those tight, skidding bounces. To defeat her on grass, you need more than just talent. You require something very different, something that a machine cannot rank or quantify. And that's why it's crucial to comprehend the events leading up to this game. Because these two players had already met 5 weeks before to Berlin on clay in Rome. And Rybakina really destroyed Eala 6-4-6-3. Not near. There was not a single moment when it seemed like it would get fascinating, clear-cut clinical lesson from the second-ranked person in the world. What do you suppose was said when Eala's name appeared in the same section as Rybakina's during the Berlin draw? It had nothing to do with Eala's chances of winning. That was a conversation that no one was having. How soon it will cease was the topic of discussion. However, this is the first intriguing aspect of the story that is often disregarded because it seems too obvious to be significant. Alex Eala did not disappear and hide during the 6 weeks that separated Rome from Berlin. She attended a minor competition in Birmingham, the WTA 125, which hardly hits the second page of tennis headlines and receives no television time. She also emerged victorious on grass, match after match, constructing something in private, something that only she and her team could truly comprehend. She had won 7 of her previous 9 games on grass before traveling to Berlin, serve that had all of a sudden become reliable, and the first round alone, I hit 8 aces against Dana Vekic. After Rome's defeat, a conceptual framework subtly rebuilt itself, posing the topic. In a different way, I can't defeat Rybakina, but something more precise and colder. What would I have to do differently? Champions spend time asking pointed questions in cramped spaces. In Birmingham, that was what was taking place, no one saw that. She then advanced to the round of 16 by defeating Dana Vekic. Now stop here, since even this is more important than most people realized. The previous week, Vekic had just won Queen's Club. She was ranked 33rd in the world, the defending champion of a prestigious grass event, full of confidence and momentum, and she was playing the finest tennis of her season when she came in Berlin. She was defeated by Eala 7-5-6-4, the same score that would recur a day later. However, the way Eala prevailed was more important than the score. When she was serving for the match, Vekic had her on the ropes, down 4 break points, the kind of situation when a single minor setback ends the entire game. Eala ended the match with 2 straight aces after saving all 4 of them. That guy is playing to dominate, not to survive. During her on-court interview shortly after the game, Eala discreetly remarked, "I'm also a fighter. I had to give it a shot." The mindset that was going to develop into something far larger is revealed to you for the first time. It's Thursday now. We now reach the point where the narrative completely changes. The Rome laws, the Birmingham title, the Vasic nerves, the 4 saved breakpoints, the serve finding its rhythm, and the mental sharpening that occurred over the course of 6 weeks of competition. When you take all of that into the stadium on Thursday, the match no longer just appears to be a match. It appears to be a test that has been developed over several months. And something felt off from the first conversation. Naturally, Rybakina opened with an ace, as she always does. Because that's just how her matches start, like a shot across the bow, a warning to the person on the other side of the net that this is what they're up against. For a brief time, you wonder if this is the point at which the momentum returns to the anticipated story. Is this the point at which Eala becomes cautious? Because she remembers where she is and who she is playing. She didn't exercise caution. She became competitive. After winning the opening game with ease, Rybakina held again for a score of 2-1. The match's first really pivotal moment came in the 8th game of that opening set. A double fault was served by Rybakina. Then one more. Eala snatched the breakpoint after sniffing at point 4-3, and all of a sudden, the courteous audience began to watch in a different way. This is where the narrative becomes psychologically complex, though. Because history indicates that the favorite reasserts at this point in the game. Rybakina has experienced a great deal of pressure. She reacts without becoming alarmed. Rybakina went from 4-3 to 4-4 and finally 5-4. With that, the stadium's fleeting window of hope began to close. Tea was almost palpable. You could practically hear the story again. Alright, let's get started. This is where it comes to an end. However, Eala broke back 5 times before breaking once more. Serving for the set is 6-5. Let's stop now, since what transpired at that precise moment is very amazing and merits more than a score. An entire stadium was holding its breath as she served for a set against the world number 2, a player with one of the sport's most explosive return games, on a surface where Rybakina excels. This is the area where young athletes falter due to weight rather than weakness, from the moment's sheer weight bearing down on each and every nerve in their body. She also had to start over after a set point went wrong, a shot went out, and a deuce. And she succeeded. She finished the performance point 7-5. The underdog's name ended up at the top of the scoreboard in the opening set of a match that was supposed to be a Rybakina formality. What makes a good narrative memorable is what occurred next. Because a player's true character is revealed in the second set. When the stars decide to work together for 30 minutes and the favorite has a few bad moments, anyone can defeat a champion in a set. But when the champion makes adjustments, will you be able to keep up that level? When does the stadium's air feel different due to the pressure of leading? Perhaps it's time to let this one go when your own brain begins to murmur that perhaps you've already accomplished enough. Perhaps it's safer to keep what you have than to risk all to complete it. Every athlete experiences this silent conflict during the second set of a contest like this. Additionally, the underdog typically loses such conflict. Not because they lack sufficient talent, since they are human. Because the occasion weighs more than the racket they are holding. After taking a 2-0 lead at the beginning of the second set, Alice continued to attack rather than trying to hold on to it. She continued to play just like she had when she had nothing to lose. Because she had decided, somewhere in her mind, that she would not alter her strategy simply because the scoreboard was favorable. That choice is really important. This match might be won or lost in 3 sets based only on that choice. Because Rybakina senses it the moment she begins to play defensively, cautiously, and to avoid losing. Champions notice that change right away. Additionally, a champion can only react once when they see their opponent entering protection mode. They launch an assault. Persistently, unrelentingly, until the protective shell breaks. She was never given the opportunity by Eala. She continued to take chances. On a return, she continued to step in. She continued to have faith in every shot she had rehearsed 1,000 times during training sessions that no one would ever see. 4-2, 5-3 after that. There was a last game that was similar to the final moments of a movie, where you can't exactly breathe until you see the conclusion even though you already enjoy it. Alex Eala defeated Elena Rybakina on grass in Berlin, winning 7-5, 6-4. The response came right away. Social media moved so quickly in the minutes following that final point that accounts that had never once mentioned Alex Eala's name were suddenly uploading her photo, discussing the score, and asking each other questions, not just in the stadium, but everywhere at once. Have you noticed this? Have you seen the recent events in Berlin? Tennis commentators who had spent the morning crafting in-depth analyses on why Rybakina would prevail in straight sets were now rewriting their entire perception of Eala's true nature and potential. Because a certain type of victory compels the sport to completely rethink a player. Not every victory is sufficient. Most victories only validate preconceived notions. However, every now and then, perhaps 3 or 4 times in a season, over the whole WTA Tour, a result lands and the discourse is irrevocably altered. One of those outcomes was this. The world stopped referring to Alex Eala as a promising prospect after this match and began calling her by the name of someone you take seriously. However, there is a side to this narrative that no broadcast can adequately convey and that the rankings, analysis, and instant excitement of a huge upset cannot entirely convey.